All right. Let everybody in. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Appreciate you all taking a few minutes of your time this morning to join us. I'm Ricky Volante, CEO and co-founder of the Professional Collegiate League. Honored to be joined today by a variety of folks here from the NXT and FTF teams, as well as Soledad O'Brien, David West, Wendell Haskins on the PCL side. We look forward to sharing some more details with you all about our exciting news this morning of NXT and FTF collectively joining the PCL to be our inaugural season distribution partner. Again, want to take a moment here. Andre Gudger, Michael Blake, also joining us from the FTF team. We have Dave Gross and Anthony Bailey and Frank Golding. So appreciate everybody taking some time out of their morning today. As I mentioned, this comprehensive distribution deal is going to cover the entirety of our first season and all of our games, with the bulk of them initially airing on NXT's cable linear outlet and then being archived and or distributed as well on the FTF and FTF International OTT and digital platforms. Collectively, those are available in 115 million households across 44 countries and territories around the world, with approximately 65 million of those being in the United States. And we view this as a huge step forward for us in continuing to develop this equitable opportunity for starting with men's basketball, college athletes, and then transitioning into women's basketball as well, hopefully in the not too distant future. And so with that, I want to turn it over to Andre. Tell us a little bit more about NXT and his excitement around the deal as well.
Thank you, Ricky. Yes, I'm Andre Gudger. I am the president and CEO of Echelon, a science and technology company, but I'm also the CEO of Next Level Sports and Entertainment. And Next Level Sports and Entertainment is the only African-American owned multi-sport global urban content platform that caters directly to the urban community and the stories of the urban athlete. It's important to me, and it's important to the network to have a partnership like the PCL. PCL, what it does is to show us that there is the opportunity not just to be a consumer of content, but also be an owner and creator of the content and distribute that content globally and get the real messages and get the real stories heard by these young men and women. I think it's absolutely a fantastic time and the right time. Given the climate in the country and what we've dealt with over the past 4 years and what we've seen recently, this is the time to give the economic justice and put it in the hands of these young athletes that deserve it. We have to go beyond the shut up and dribble. It's time now to educate, graduate, and be successful. And Next Level Sports and Entertainment will provide that global platform in its inaugural season to the PCL. It's almost unheard of to have a league start and have such a dedicated broadcast partner that's willing to make this message heard, not just in the United States of America, but across the globe, across 5 continents, and growing and evolving. And I think that's important to us, and we are proud to celebrate this with you, Ricky, and the PCL and our team and partners with For the Fan. I think this is a unique time in history, one that we want to continue to build on, one that we will build on, and one that will absolutely serve the urban and underserved communities for us to build. And I thank you for this opportunity. I thank everyone that's here. This is a fantastic team, and I believe in this model. I know we'll give these young kids the right opportunity, not just to succeed athletically, but also succeed economically and academically, which is what this league is founded on. And this strong foundation should be one that we all embrace. It's time for it. It's the right time. And thank you, Ricky, for this wonderful partnership with you.
And thank you, Andre. We really appreciate you guys joining us on this adventure. It was incredibly meaningful to us for you to give us this amount of trust in coming to terms on this deal, but also not just the opportunity to have our games distributed, but to be with a partner that is so mission aligned with what we've set out to do from the beginning. College athletes absolutely deserve an equitable opportunity, one that is not currently afforded to them, nor is really on the table in the various proposals out there at this moment. And so we really appreciate you guys joining us, like I said, on this. And so with that, I want to turn it over. Michael, I don't know if you have anything to add as well on the NXT side as well.
Andre is our leader, so it always makes it great when you have a brilliant leader. But we just want to say thank you for everybody for being with us on today, and the historic opportunity that we're building out with Next Level, of course, with our partners, DirecTV, Verizon, and so many others, and the conversations we're having accordingly. But we just want to crystallize this moment, in this 100th anniversary of Greenwood, the opportunity of a Black-owned sports platform to be able to showcase the opportunities of these young men is exactly why we are so grateful for the leadership of Ricky and Andre and the entire team here. So Next Level and PCL is going to do something special this year. And instead of us having to watch all the horror stories that we're watching among our communities, we'll be able to show them something powerful and impactful. So thank you, Ricky and Andre and everyone.
Absolutely. So next up, we have Soledad O'Brien. She's going to be joining us here for a moment to discuss. Obviously, she knows a few things about distribution and content.
And very little bit about basketball, actually, which is why you can tell I was not invited to be part of this team because of my deep knowledge of college basketball, but instead to really think about distribution and connection and storytelling. And obviously, I mean, Andre already mentioned, I think this alignment with a group that is wholly African-American owned is amazing and incredibly important. Obviously, reach is essential and distribution is essential. But as Michael mentioned, listen, we've had a lot of conversations about what does equity mean? What is the equitable option for young people? And I do hope as we expand, it goes from young men to young people being able to reap the benefits of what they're able to do, both certainly athletically, but academically as well. So I'm glad that we are being able to announce this remarkable partnership and an exciting start. And also, I think it's a great story. And so here in my business, what we call the deep tease, don't be stunned when you see a docuseries about the launch of this important, essential, and historic moment unfolding in front of us. If it becomes how should I put this without giving a lot away? a bigger story that comes to your screens as well. So of course, I'm thrilled and I was honored to be asked to take part, and I'm really excited. This is huge.
Thank you so much, Soledad. And next up, both literally and metaphorically, the big man, David West, is going to give us a little bit of perspective on the basketball side of this.
Yep. Thank you, everybody, for joining. This is a big step for us in terms of our distribution channel and the ability to continue to provide opportunity for young athletes in the collegiate space. We firmly believe in compensation of collegiate athletes, particularly basketball. And we feel that, we continue to make the right strides and take the proper steps to bring that to reality. Our athletes are people, and we're going to treat them as such. Our perspective is to make sure that the athletes are at the center and their goals, the things that they want to achieve in the game of basketball can be achieved without being exploited in the process. And that is a major, major piece for us. We are happy to have a media distribution partner and someone we know we can trust, particularly to get our games to the people, to the fans, and meet young athletes, particularly this generation, where they are. Games are consumed in a different manner than they were, say, 10 years ago. So we feel we're ready to take that step to put our young athletes on Front Street, put them on stage, and obviously make sure that their rights as human beings are at the forefront of what we do. We appreciate everybody. We appreciate the support and appreciate the opportunity to tell our story and to continue to tell our story today.
Great. Thank you so much, David, who jumped out of his master's class for a moment in his continued efforts to educate and live the mission himself.
Right.
All right, Wendell Haskins, our Chief Marketing Officer, with the commercial perspective here.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I really want to echo, everyone's comments. What a great opportunity it is to partner, to give the PCL the opportunity to broadcast this content to the world, quite honestly. As you can see, David was on the moon when he called, right? He looked like he looked like an astronaut when he called in. But look, we're extremely excited about this opportunity to broadcast this content for these collegiate level players and have the opportunity to have an equity opportunity and being elite athletes, which is what we're all about. And of course, the education component of the PCL will also be a driving force to everything that we do. This is an amazing day. As David said, content is being consumed in different ways. Even the equity in terms of how content is distributed now has kind of leveled the playing field, right? So this is just a tremendous opportunity. Andre, thank you for your vision, your extraordinary leadership with Next Level. Soledad, thank you for amplifying us further to help tell those stories, because stories are very very meaningful. And who tells those stories is even more important. So us getting the opportunity to tell our own stories with athletes coming from our communities and giving them the opportunity to thrive is really what the PCL is all about. And we couldn't be more excited about this day.
Absolutely. And for those in the media that are joining us today, you can certainly ask a question both either in the chat bar, you can hit the raise your hand feature. Either way, we'll be sure to let you ask a question, but just to further expand on the conversation here and why we're excited about having the opportunity to work with NXT and with FTF. They've also been working with us behind the scenes over the last couple of weeks as we finalized our partnership to secure venues where our games are going to be played and where our practices are going to be held. And all of those are going to be held in Prince George's County, Maryland, which is for some Basketball County, USA. I think that David down in Raleigh might have a bone to pick with that designation. However, it is an incredible space and certainly a high number of quality athletes come from that area in basketball and in other sports as well. So we're excited to be just between DC and Baltimore, right in the heart of our geographic footprint for these first season's games. And then additionally, just as a reminder for those that this may be your first time interacting with the PCL, the compensation packages that we're going to be offering to athletes includes obviously salaries, which will go up to $150,000. And then additionally, we are going to be providing them with stipends to cover their educational costs and expenses to attend either a accredited 4-year, 2-year, or trade vocational program, either in the city that they play or online. So we are want to make sure that we're continuing to live the mission in terms of not only educating and preparing our athletes on the court, but also off the court, because as we do know, things happen and athletes need to be prepared for life after the ball stops dribbling. And it looks like Amanda, you can go ahead and jump in with a question if you had one here.
Hi, yeah, I was just typing it out, but I'll just ask. I'm wondering if the PCL views the Overtime Elite League as a potential feeder in the future. And I'm just curious about your thoughts about how that league is going to feed into this landscape of, allowing high school and college athletes get paid to play.
Absolutely. I know Adam Silver said this recently, and I will certainly echo what he had to say, which is optionality for athletes is an important thing. For too long, we've only had basically the collegiate option or go overseas. And so it's incredible to see the progress that OTE is making with this morning's news. And absolutely, we view them as a feeder system for us, because over time, overtime, two words, the overtime league, not all 16-year-olds will ultimately end up being the best 18 and 19-year-olds in the country, and most of the time they're not. Injuries happen. There's always step backs in terms of talent development. And so, having a system that will not preclude them from joining us based on the fact that they've already been compensated, like they would be with the NCAA, I think it's important for us to be there to serve as a safety net. So I think over the long run here, the Overtime Elite League and the PCL may end up being, extremely complementary and friendly to each other, and providing opportunities for elite athletes to be compensated from essentially the ages of 16 to 22, if they were to play that 16 to 23, if they were to play that all the way out. And then have the opportunity to go to the NBA. The other factor that I would say is a distinction between us and the OTE is they are a very discrete opportunity with, essentially what will end up working out to about 8 to 12 players per recruiting class will have the opportunity to join them with their 30-player maximum. Whereas what we're attempting to do with the PCL is a much broader opportunity. And same thing goes for the G League Ignite team, where they only sign 5 to 6 players per season. When you get to player number 15 or 16, there's still incredible value there at the collegiate level. And that is what the PCL hopes to provide the opportunity for those athletes, as well as the next David West. I believe he was like 96th in the state of North Carolina when he was a high school senior. And so, clearly no one at that point viewed him as a future 15-year NBA player, possible Hall of Famer, 2-time champion. And so those late developers also need to have an opportunity somewhere where they're not being exploited. And again, that's where the PCL fills the gap. Adrian, you can either type or come on. I see you have a question as well.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for letting me tune in. I was curious about how does the Supreme Court case with the NCAA sort of affect what the PCL is offering? If, say, it goes in favor of the athletes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think that, sorry to monopolize all the answers here, but being the attorney on the call, I'll take the first crack at this one as well. The Alston case before the Supreme Court, I think that there's been some misunderstandings of what that a plaintiff's victory in that case would mean. I mean, at the end of the day, to an extent, the NCAA rules are on trial, so to speak. And whether or not they're considered pro-competitive or anti-competitive in the eyes of antitrust law is certainly being tested. However, a plaintiff victory in that case would only be able to continue to focus on education-related benefits and that $5,980 additional stipend. And what it doesn't accomplish is there's nothing related to NIL as it relates to that specific case and what's before the Supreme Court. There's nothing related to employee status for these athletes. So in a lot of ways, the second-class citizenship that exists for college athletes, even if the plaintiffs win, will continue to exist. And that's where, again, the PCL, we view these athletes as full-fledged citizens, and they should have all the rights that anybody else on a college campus has, which means complete NIL, the opportunity to earn money not only for NIL, but also for their talent and their services, and then not having any of that impact the academic offerings and educational opportunities that they have.
Got it. Thank you. I was also wondering if you could, sorry, I tuned in a few minutes late, so I don't know if this was mentioned, but if you could sketch out sort of what the shape of the season will be, like when it'll start, when it'll end, how many games will be played, that sort of thing.
Yeah, so I'm going to start here, and then I'll let Andre jump in as well with the NXT perspective as far as the flexibility that they were friendly enough to give us in the context of this deal. We are targeting a summer launch. But again, there's flexibility in the deal that whether that ends up being July or August, we still intend to launch in 2021. As soon as we have a schedule set, then we will be certainly releasing that to the public as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'll add to Ricky's point. We will ensure that all the games are broadcast live, either on our cable network or on our digital network. And we've given PCL the flexibility to work with us on designing the schedule, so we can design a schedule that's optimal for the viewership, both domestic and international. And so, we will be working on that with PCL and Ricky directly over in the coming weeks. But we want to make sure that we optimize this platform for the league and for the players of the league.
And one last thing, Adrian, I'm realizing whenever two questions get asked at the same time, only one of them inevitably gets answered. Our season is looking to have approximately 15 games per team plus a playoff format at the end. So it'll be slightly reformatted based on that single city setup. And then next year in 2022, we would have the more expansive schedule that you and I have spoken about before. All right. Any other media questions? I know we have a couple other folks in there. And Michael, thank you for sharing as well the Washington Post announcement, which includes additional details. There's also now a full press release that's out outlining additional terms here. And will be available for questions and comments in the coming days as they might arise.
I had one more question, if that's okay.
Sure, Amanda, go ahead.
Yeah, this is a big picture question, but I guess I'm just wondering if anyone wants to answer. I'm curious, in your own words, what is it going to take to create a league that, people think can compete with the NCAA? Obviously, media rights partner is a huge step forward in that direction. But this was like a question that was asked of the Overtime League, and I was curious about your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think that the NCAA obviously has the benefit of tradition, history, and a track record. That said, it's not 100% squeaky clean. And, I think that there's a lot of misalignments between the athletes' expectations and goals and the institution's expectations and goals, and the opportunity to obviously earn a salary directly and also receive health benefits and the typical protections that an employee gets in every other setting would be provided in the PCL's system. Additionally, unlimited name, image, and likeness monetization opportunities will also significantly increase the value potential to those athletes with very limited restrictions as far as obviously anything that would be considered damaging from an integrity standpoint. Those would really be the only limitations on our athletes as far as monetization goes. I think also on the basketball side, we will be offering a superior opportunity. So as long as you can show the athletes, here's how you get from where you are today to the NBA, here's how you're going to get more opportunities from a monetization standpoint, here's how you're going to be recognized as a full-fledged citizen, and here's how also you're going to be getting more meaningful educational opportunities. I think all of that's important. And then I would also lean on Soledad here for a moment, that the bigger picture here, going back to some of the points she made around equity and justice, also plays into the narrative with these athletes beyond just the basketball opportunities.
Great, thanks.
Go ahead, Soledad. Sorry.
Forgive me. I'm obviously the only person who uses Zoom and still has not figured out to unmute herself before she starts talking. But obviously, Amanda, I think that is essential. And Michael actually mentioned it in his remarks, but he was talking about the 100th anniversary that we're about to come up on the Tulsa massacre, right? This idea that Black Wall Street was decimated and absolutely undermined in every way, justice, financially, for opportunity for Black people. And I think that 100th anniversary is a really interesting sort of moment in time to be thinking about how do we think about treating athletes fairly? How do we think about supporting them so that they get to their goals and they're able to leverage what they are bringing to the table? I think that's what makes, from my perspective, this really essential. And I think the ability to do that well is also what we're going to be judged upon.
Absolutely. All right. Any other questions? I know we were trying to wrap by 11:30. If you have any others, feel free to jump in. All right. Well, I really appreciate everybody's time. Again, we're really excited to bring this historic announcement to you guys, and we look forward to having additional announcements in the coming weeks on the continued development and preparation of the PCL's inaugural season. Thank you, everybody.